What's happening, everybody? 1 p.m. Friday, May 23rd, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to A Loud Majority Live here on rumble.com/LFATV. We're going to have some fun today because ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, the owner of Disney, the owner of ESPN, imagine this. Imagine being so bad, after people stop watching ESPN because of your politics. And people stop watching some of the most tried and true intellectual property ever, like Snow White. And still being allowed to do whatever you want. Imagine being so bad that ABC, the company that owns all of that, comes to you and says, hey, maybe talk less. If you can imagine that, then you would be the 5 idiots on The View. In one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen, Bob Iger is telling the ladies of The View to maybe consider, just think about, possibly shutting up once in a while. Also, Media Matters for America is in a little bit of trouble. As the FTC investigates Media Matters for America for collusion with advertisers. Oh, really now? Some of you who have been around Loud Majority for a while are going to remember why this is so exciting for me personally. Also, Adam Schiff and Sheldon Whitehouse got a little taste of Long Island as Lee the Legend Zeldin decided to throw it right back at them. This is my favorite part of the Trump administration. I gotta be honest, we're gonna have some fun. Lee the Legend Zeldin kicking Adam Schiff directly in his gigantic neck. Really, really funny. Also, the Democrats are in spiral mode as they are getting ready for a primary season. Oh, it's going to be fun to watch. Oh, it is going to be fun to watch. Also, Donald Trump sees his approval rating go up among Democrats. What all is happening there? Also, President Trump will be signing executive orders from the Oval Office. We will throw that to the boss once we get it. Before we get started, though, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Here we rock. Here we roll. Let's pop that live chat up on the screen. Hope everybody's having a good day today. Giddy up. Let's go. Shout out to everybody watching in all the other chats. AC Knight, Stacy, how are you? Very good stuff. Shout out to everybody watching wherever it is you may be watching from. Jeanette, how are you? Spectre, watching on X, shout out to you. Make sure you guys are reposting this. Do me a favor, just hit the share button if you can. We really do appreciate it. It really helps grow the show. We got the Rumble chat up there, rumble.com/LFATV. Kevin, what do we got here? I'm seeing some local stuff. Now I got to stop the chat. What do we got here? Kevin, Huntington GOP came to my house with their primary picks. In Huntington, that's C. Michaels. In Huntington, you're going to be voting for Ed Smith. He's the current supervisor. He's doing a phenomenal job. I got to say, the second best supervisor on Long Island. Obviously, the one in Smithtown is the best. But that's only because I'm better friends with him. What's going on, everybody? Howdy. Let's dive right in because I got some fun. We gotta make sure we get to today. So, the ladies of The View, the illustrious, the phenomenal, the brilliant, room temperature IQ ladies of The View have been told by Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, to cool it with their political chatter. Oh, yes. Nothing like the bosses coming down from the executive suite telling you to just possibly, maybe, consider shutting up a little bit. Now, why is this? Well, it turns out, aside from the fact that their political takes tend to be wrong, Democrats, I think, are getting a little sick of it. Also, Democrats have nothing to talk about. So it's just, imagine having a show, and I try not to do this. Sometimes it ends up happening. Imagine just having a show about negativity all day long, every day, nonstop for the next 4 years. Nobody wants to watch that crap. And there seems to be a clash. This from Fox News. A clash with the views within ABC daytime over the hyper political coverage it has become known for. The Daily Beast, which is about as left-wing as you get, has reported that apparently there's a rift between the ladies of The View and the top brass at the company, going all the way up to CEO Bob Iger, about a desire for the host to cool it with their politics. Notably, all 6 co-hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sonny Hostin, the one no one can remember, the one that worked for Mike Pence, and the one who could not be more prouder to not be white, Ana Navarro, voted for Kamala Harris in 2024 and have been an outspoken critic of Donald Trump. I would say so. ABC News president alumni convened a meeting within the View's executive producer Brian Tita and its host, and suggested the panel needed to broaden its conversations beyond its predominant focus on politics. 2 sources familiar with the meeting said the Daily Beast reported. I can't pronounce this woman's name, so I'm not even going to try. Kara Medovich, who is the ABC president of Alum, highlighted the episodes with celebrity guests that said they were higher rated, one source said, and encouraged them to lean into coverage, that sort of coverage, moving forward. So, look, I want to be clear. And this isn't a dig at The View, okay? But do you think the CEO of literally the biggest media company, maybe in the world, outside of Al Jazeera, the biggest media company, you think he's focused on the coverage of every one of his individual shows? You think Bob Iger is watching every show on ESPN? You think Bob Iger is watching every show on ABC? Of course not. It's ridiculous. He's also running Disney. So for him to make a point to tell the ladies of The View to chill out, that's how bad things have gotten. A source with The View confirmed to Fox News Digital that these discussions were had, but suggested that not all. Hold on a sec. I skipped the sentence here. Excuse me. According to the report, co-host Ana Navarro forcefully pushed back, which makes sense. Of all the people on The View, she is the one who is the most political. She's there for her political taste. She's also a contributor, a longtime contributor on CNN, pushed back, insisting their audience wants their perspective on politics. Navarro reportedly took her message directly to Bob Iger, who she thanked for allowing them to keep doing their jobs, though Iger reaffirmed that the show needed to tone down its political rhetoric while expressing his support for The View. Look, I'm sure it's a huge moneymaker for the network, so, I don't blame him for that. A source with The View confirmed to Fox News Digital these decisions were had, but suggested that not all the hosts were in lockstep with Navarro. Most of the hosts agreed with ABC's top brass. A source told Fox News Digital, The View is a daytime network talk show and needs to be more than just politics and Trump bashing. This was a welcome direction for many of us. Look, I want to be clear. I know somebody who works at ABC. They're someone very important to me. And every time I bring up politics in any context, they want to talk about literally anything else. We live in this world. Not everyone does. Some people care about what the summer blockbuster is going to be. Some people care about, Justin Bieber's new album. That's what they care about. Some people care about just sports. One of my best friends, probably, I guarantee you, he probably knows who the president is, and that's about it. All he does is watch sports all day long. Like most people used to do. Same thing goes for the producers of The View. Same thing goes for the hosts of The View. I'm sure that some of them, if I had to pick, Sarah Haynes. If I had to pick, it's probably Sarah Haynes. Probably doesn't want to talk about politics all day long. A, because they don't really know what the hell they're talking about. But B, unless you love a topic, You don't want to talk about it all the live long day. Not to mention, I'm sure they're sick and tired of getting abused when they leave the house. When asked whether The View will ultimately pivot towards less political coverage as the second Trump presidency continues, a source responded, "It's hard to say, but..." This source says, "Ignoring Bob Iger seems like a terrible decision." Another source familiar with the situation said such conversations with talent are normal, which absolutely are, based on viewer feedback, and that this conversation in particular is about finding a balance in topics, reevaluating politics in general, not just stories pertaining to Trump. Despite the internal discussions, The View has maintained its critical coverage of the administration over the last few weeks. This is hilarious. This is so great. Of course, Iger's request for a shift in The View did not come in a vacuum. Trump, known for his feuds with the media, is currently in mediation with Paramount Global to resolve his $20 billion lawsuit with CBS News. ABC itself settled the lawsuit with Trump, shelling out $15 million for his presidential library and an apology over George Stephanopoulos' false assertion about the E. Jean Carroll situation. So I'm sure Bob Iger is not doing this out of a let's cozy up to the right perspective. He's doing it out of a financial decision, which I don't really care what the reason is. Imagine that. I want to be clear. No one has ever told me what to say on this show, what to talk about. If I wanted to do a whole show on the fact that the New York Knicks completely choked against the Indiana Pacers, that's our prerogative. We all talk about different things. I cannot imagine the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world actually nitpicking what his hosts talk about. I mean, let's just see. ABC daytime lineup. Let's just see here. Who is on during the day? What are these ridiculous? There's got to be one of these ridiculous. The View, Yeah, could you imagine Bob Iger going on, let's just see, going on Good Morning America and telling them what to talk about? Nope. No. But he did it to The View. He did it to the... And you know why? Because nobody wants to hear this crap anymore. They're tired of it. They're tired of the Trump bashing. And why are they tired of the Trump bashing? Well, it turns out, in a weird twist of fate, Donald Trump's approval rating has actually increased with Democrats. Now, has it increased a lot? Not really. But the latest Qantas Insights poll conducted over the course of the last 4 days shows that Trump is actually up 4 points with Democrats. Now, that moves him into the double digits and went from 7 to 11. But I got news for you. If Trump's approval rating is going up 4-5 points with Democrats, that's an election. That's out of control. The poll also showed that Trump's approval rating has received a 5-point boost among black voters, with 27% approving of his job performance, up from 22%. His disapprovals have dropped by 2 points. Among every other demographic polled, Trump's approval rating did not change significantly. Trump holding steady. Why does this matter? Because Trump's modest gains among Democrats and black voters who traditionally lean Democratic signal subtle but potential consequential shifts in the political landscape. This dynamic not only strengthens Trump's hand in advance of his second term, but also signals a daunting challenge for the midterms moving forward. Democrats continue to find themselves in real trouble, and they know it. They know it, as the old guard is starting to see that the young cats, the young kids, are creeping up behind them. Before we get to that, guys, here's Jeremy.
Oh, hey, folks. How you doing? Jeremy Harrell here, LFA TV. I was just reading up here on Fatty 15. Sounds kind of funny, right? It's not, though. Fatty 15 is a new supplement that we are taking here at LFA TV that I'm personally taking myself that has a nutrient in it called C15. And what is C15? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we can thank our aquatic friends, the dolphins, for science figuring this out. The first breakthrough in 90 years about what the proper amount of C15 in your body can do. Every one of us wants peace. Every one of us wants to experience joy and a long life with our kids and our grandkids sitting in a setting like you see behind me. Well, there's one way that you can do that outside of eating right, having a good diet, exercising, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, but also taking supplements that our bodies just don't produce anymore because we're all breaking down, especially as we get older. Fatty 15 has a nutrient called C15. And what this does is it, first of all, repairs your old damaged cells and then kind of slows down the aging process of your cells, giving you longevity of life. And 72% of people taking Fatty 15 see massive benefits within 16 weeks. Some earlier, some later. But those benefits are absolutely amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Most people said their liver and heart health feels much better. A lot of people said that their skin is changing. They feel like they're healthier. Their metabolic system changes. And ladies and gentlemen, it's also vegan friendly. Now, Fatty 15 has 3 times the cellular benefits as any omega-3 or fish oil. Omega-3 and fish oil also can go bad after a while. By replenishing our cells with this C15 nutrient that I'm talking about in here, Fatty 15 effectively repairs cells and restores our long-term health. Now, I can get you a 15% off a 90-day subscription right now by going to fatty15.com/LFA, promo code LFA. That's fatty15.com/LFA, promo code LFA. And ladies and gentlemen, despite the name, it's not going to make you a fatty. It's actually going to give you something that you've been wanting for a long time, to feel younger again. Who doesn't want that? Fatty15.com/LFA, code LFA. Check it out now. Thank you guys so very much. Have a wonderful day.
So, guys, let's talk about one of the most disingenuous organizations in American politics. And, of course, that would be Media Matters for America. For those of you who don't know what Media Matters for America is, you're probably living a pretty good life because you're not dealing with these genuinely awful people. So, Media Matters for America is a ridiculous left-wing organization that basically what their job started out to be was an entity that was founded by David Brock, who is genuinely awful, but it was set as a counterweight to the Media Research Center, which, of course, is a right-wing institution. Media Matters for America basically goes after people's advertisers so that they can no longer keep their shows on the air. Of course, John Podesta, the former chief of staff to Bill Clinton, provided office space for Media Matters for America early on in its foundation at the Center for American Progress, a Democratic think tank established in 2002. Media Matters for America, you ready for this? Analyzes American news sources from networks and channels and its websites, focusing mainly on conservative talk radio. Media Matters for America basically just sat around and watched Rush Limbaugh all day long and then went after his advertisers. Well, the FTC is, they're not really having it. They're not really having this anymore now that it's run by genuinely good people, as the FTC is investigating Media Matters for America over alleged collusion with advertisers on social media. Now, why does this excite Kevin? Why does this make Kevin happy? Why am I excited for all the people out there that Media Matters for America has gone after? No, here's why I'm excited about it. Media Matters for America once wrote an article that I'm going to read to you all right now. It's about guy running for Congress in 2022 whose name is J.R. Majewski. Does anybody know J.R. Majewski? He's been on all of the shows here on LFA TV. Well, Media Matters wrote an article titled J.R. Majewski to January 6th Insurrection Group, saying, quote, "You'll have ready access to me at all times if I am elected to Congress." A Republican nominee and former right-wing streamer J.R. Majewski recently appeared on a streaming program with a right-wing group that said it had hundreds of members at the January 6th insurrection. Do me a favor, guys, and let me know if anyone in this photograph looks familiar to you. Anybody here? Anybody? Hey, is anybody paying attention? Does this photograph look like anyone you might know? So I have to be honest with you, when I hear that Media Matters for America has the FTC going after them, I'm quite excited about it. The Federal Trade Commission has issued a civil investigation demand to Media Matters, requesting records about the group's communications with other media watchdogs. The inquiry focuses on whether Media Matters helped coordinate advertiser boycotts targeting the social media platform X, owned by Elon Musk. According to a document reviewed by Reuters, the FTC is seeking details about the Washington, D.C.-based nonprofit, yeah, right, interactions with groups that monitor hate speech and misinformation online. The Global Alliance for Responsible Media is one of those groups, an initiative of the World Federation of Advertisers. Both companies are facing lawsuits from X. Last year, X filed a lawsuit in a Texas court alleging that the World Federation of Advertisers and several major brands unlawfully worked together to pull dollars from the platform. The companies are accused of collusion, have denied any wrongdoing, and have asked the judge to dismiss the case. The FTC's demand also calls for Media Matters to turn over all documents it produced and received in connection with the X lawsuit. Let's read, shall we? You know what? I'll even put it up on the screen so we can all read it together. We can all read the sort of phenomenal journalism being done by Media Matters for America. Shall we all read it together? Shall we all read it? Yes, I think we shall. Republican congressional nominee and former right-wing streamer J.R. Majewski recently appeared on a streaming program of the Long Island Loud Majority, a right-wing group that said it had hundreds of members in D.C. during January 6th. We never said that. During the show, Majewski praised the group's founders and told them that they would have ready access at all times when I get into office. Majewski's support of the group is on brand. He himself is a January 6th insurrectionist. Majewski admitted that he crossed the police barricade, which he also never said he did, and said he wanted nothing more than to go into the building, but he never actually went in, so he didn't do anything wrong. Now we get to the juice. Now we get to the meat and potatoes of where Kevin is annoyed. The Long Island Loud Majority organizes right-wing activities, including its school board meetings. It operates as an LLC, sells merchandise, and airs a sponsored-based media program. Hold on. A sponsored-based media program. You mean like every TV show on any network, anywhere in the world, other than like HBO? A sponsor-based media play. Oh boy. The group took part in January 6th. No, we didn't. With its founder, Sean Farish, stating that they had 300 members who went to D.C. No, he didn't. Then here's the juice. Boom. Here's the juice. The Southern Poverty Law Center listed the Loud Majority as an anti-government extremist group and is part of the anti-democratic hard right movement. Whoa! Oh, the anti-dem now. That would make it sound like I oppose democracy. The anti-democratic hard right movement. Yeah, right. A Southern Poverty researcher said that the group has made, you ready for this? I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to put this up here because this is just brilliant stuff here. The group has made, quote, what we would call threats of political violence around issues like vaccines, masking, and COVID restrictions, along with conducting anti-LGBTQ activity. Oh, have I? First off, never called for violence against anyone, ever. Anti-LGBTQ activities. Right. That's probably why I worked for the George Santos campaign and why I routinely do work with Scott Presler. Just pulling dings directly out of their... But this is what Media Matters does. This is what the Southern Poverty Law Center does. They go after people like me. They go after people like Sean because we don't have the financial resources to be able to sue them. However, they got a bit too big for their britches. And then they went after Elon Musk, who has more money than he could ever spend. And now Elon is saying, you've reached the FO stage of the FAFO. As Elon Musk will spend unlimited resources to go after some of the most nefarious people in America. But let's keep reading. Let's keep reading with this hard-hitting journalism. Hard-hitting journalism about me. The loud majority is, quote, more political in its interests and involvement, said the Law Center researcher Rachel Carroll Rivas, who I've reached out to about 24 times about coming on this show and has never done it because she's a coward. It has made what we would call threats of political violence, never done that before, we read that part, and targeting students and schools around inclusive communities. I have never once ever done that. Ever. Those preoccupations reflect what the Law Center said was a widespread shift by similar groups after January 6th in Washington, D.C. They had to make sure they shoehorned in January 6th. They had to make sure they rammed it in as quickly as they possibly could. Sean Farish, formerly of West Babylon, disputed the Law Center's characterization. We are not anarchists, we are not revolutionaries, and we are certainly not violent. Yeah, we're none of those things. And then, of course, they had to throw in, you know what, it's actually pretty good that they mentioned this. Because we're going to get to Lee Zeldin in a little bit. Before we do, let's have a little bit of fun and go back to the Wayback Machine when me and Sean were doing the show together. You know, you were talking about these new Republicans that are starting to run for office, and we really saw it big in Carolyn Levitt last night. Thinking about what I was doing at 25, and it certainly was not running for office, but when you say that we need to bring some of these old school Republicans to our barbecues, Sean and I talk about this all the time.
All the time.
That they're the late 90s sort of Republicans, the very boring, straight-laced people that have really hurt the Republican name. We've tried to welcome them in, and with much with
a lot of resistance.
With a lot of resistance.
We've met a lot of resistance.
So how do we show people, particularly young people, that it's okay to be conservative and have fun at the same time?
Well, I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a radical, baby. What a radical question that was. I asked to our good friend J.R. Majewski. These people have no shame whatsoever. So I am so happy that the FTC is going after them. Good. In the words of, there you go. I hope they sue you and take everything you have, you vile humans, you disgusting people. I wish one of you had the balls to come on this show and confront me on my violence. But you can't find it. Can't find that anywhere. Guys, we'll be right back. Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, I've switched my banking to Old Glory Bank, and you should too. Why? Because it's not about dollars and cents. It's about preserving your values, never having your information sold out to the government. Guys, head on over to oldglorybank.com/loudmajority. That's oldglorybank.com/loudmajority. Consider opening up an account with them today. I have my money there. You should too. So, speaking of savages, we've got to talk about my friend, my buddy, Lee the Legend Zeldin. Now, obviously, I am, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I am not going to be objective about Lee Zeldin. Lee is a friend. He's a mentor to me. I owe him more than maybe almost anybody in politics, and more than I owe almost anybody for the totality of my life. Well, the other day, Lee Zeldin decided that he had just about enough of Adam Schiff and Sheldon Whitehouse talking crap in the Senate chambers, and decided that he was going to verbally, as we say here in New York, pimp slap Adam Schiff for his original failed career after he tried to put him in a corner. Here was Lee Zeldin.
What is it about this grant that you and EPA believe is problematic enough to freeze this funding and put potentially 31,000 children at risk?
Senator, who is the grant applicant?
This is to the city of Santa Ana.
You have the biggest,
And are you-
you have the biggest
are you-
state, so
and
we're
are
going to
you-
go through every single list of the grant.
Well,
by the way, with that wind-up, by the way, I understand that you were an aspiring fiction writer. I see why.
Oh, yeah. Well, I understand your view that you can cut half of the agency and it won't affect people's health or their water, their air. That, to me, is a big fiction, Mr. Zeldin.
You've
And
forgot about the fact of cleaning up
I have to
after
think,
LA
Mr. Zeldin,
wildfires.
I think, Mr. Zeldin,
President when I was
if
in San
your
Diego,
if your children were
with the
drinking
Tijuana
water,
River sewage crisis,
if your
apparently we're
children
going
were
out on our
drinking
own for
water
that.
in Santa Ana, Mr. Zeldin, maybe you wouldn't be so cavalier about whether there was lead in their water. Maybe you would give a damn instead of coming in here and suggesting that any grant that takes lead out of the water must be waste, fraud, or abuse because you
gentleman's
need
time has
because
expired.
you
Who said
need
that? The whole
the
thing,
money for a
everything
tax
you
cut
said,
for rich people
your time. It's all
because
make-believe.
you're totally beholden to the oil industry.
The
You could
gentleman's time.
I got to be clear about a couple. Okay, first off, for my Long Islanders out here, okay, Lee Zeldin is not beholden to rich people, okay? Like, there's some money out here on Long Island, and Lee Zeldin doesn't come from it. That's number one. Number two, beholden to the oil industry? We have no oil on Long Island, okay? None. Not even a little bit. If your car leaked with oil, that would be the biggest oil well on Long Island, okay? So Adam Schiff, maybe you should, clean up before wildfires, and then you wouldn't need the EPA all the time. But, that's no mention. But he wasn't done yet. He wasn't done yet because there's a guy in the Senate. He's from Connecticut. None of you have heard of him. You only really know of him from this show where we play him getting abused in clips. Well, Lee got real. He got real Shirley real quick for my Long Islanders out there. He was not taking any of Sheldon Whitehouse's crap. And I want to be clear, this is the through line of the Trump administration. Many nefarious people will want to claim that Donald Trump, the only thing he looks for is loyalty, that all he cares about are people that'll be obedient to him, and that just isn't true. What Donald Trump looks for are people who are gonna fight back. People who are not gonna take the crap. Not gonna sit in these windowless committee rooms and just get abused, as we've seen so often in the past with many people. We saw it in previous administrations, never in this one, okay? Never in this one. Why? Because this administration swings first. Whether it was Marco Rubio last week, whether it was Kristi Noem going after these people for making things up, whether it is Kash Patel telling the senator from Washington that if she wants her 5-second clip, she can go get it outside, or whether it's Lee Zeldin basically kicking Sheldon Whitehouse in the teeth.
I conduct an individual review of everything, and that concept doesn't work for you.
When did you conduct an individualized
Work on it
review
every
of
single day,
781
because
grants?
we have a zero tolerance
Will you
policy
show me
towards
your
wasting
schedule?
dollars. We inherit something. You don't care about wasting money.
Will you show me
You
your
don't care about
schedule?
wasting money, but the Trump administration does, Senator.
Will you show me your schedule?
Our schedule's publicly released. We don't put on the schedule every single moment
Will you
of the
show me
day
your
that
schedule
It's
to
publicly
prove
released.
your assertion
I'm
that
here
you
under
did
oath,
individualized
Senator.
review of
They're
781?
under oath telling you that I was reviewing this stuff and working on it almost every single day.
And the
Why?
problem
Because
with
when I
that-
was before this committee, I was asked by Senator Ricketts, if confirmed, would I immediately make this a top priority to go through all the grant funding going through EPA to make sure that we are cracking down on every waste, every aspect of abuse, because I have to come back here in front of Senator Ricketts today. And even though you don't care about wasting tax dollars, Senator Ricketts does.
And the
I'm going to
problem-
do my job because the American public
And the
cares
problem-
about us not wasting tax dollars.
And the problem with your assertion here today is that it is belied by your own employees' sworn statements in court and by the decision of the
Senator,
Department of
you're not
Justice
grasping
to
the fact-
admit that what you
No,
say
you're
isn't
not grasping
true.
the fact that we would have multiple employees looking at these grants. That concept just escapes you like that's even a possibility.
The only
You
thing
come
about
here
that is that
and
that's
you
not
don't care
true.
about 99% of the story.
That's not true according to your own
You don't.
employees'
You're not grasping
testimony.
It, Senator. I don't know what to say to you. You're insisting on the fact.
I'm
that there's-
insisting on the facts.
that
That's
he
exactly
only-
what I'm insisting
Yes,
on. I'm
okay.
insisting on the facts, and I now have
I will
three
say
different
again
versions of the facts,
that Travis
including
Hoyles
Department
and
of
I
Justice
and others
lawyers
are working on this every
who
single
admitted
day that
in
we're
court
in
that what you're
office.
saying
and we're
now
not going
is
to
not
waste
true.
dollars just because you insist on EPA lighting taxpayer dollars on fire. The American taxpayers, they put President Trump in office because of people like you. They have Republicans in charge of the House and Senate because of people like you. Because you don't care about 99% of this story. You don't want me to go through the list of all the evidence of waste and abuse. You
No,
don't
what I
care
want you to do-
and conflicts of interest.
What I
don't
want
care
you to
about
do-
unqualified recipients. You don't care about
What I
reduced
want you to
agency
do-
oversight.
That's my friend. That's my friend. Yeah, that's right, Sheldon Whitehouse. Sit. You know what? I'm going to turn the mic down so I can say exactly what I want. Sheldon Whitehouse, why don't you try? Had to make sure I cut that sentence. I'm sure some of you can read lips. Ha ha! You nominate Long Island, you get Long Island, baby. I love it. And that's why I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'd crawl over broken glass for that man. I could say that about maybe 3 people on this planet because Lee does not mess around. Does not mess around. Because these people don't care. They don't care when they waste your money. They don't care at all. All they care about is the headline. Sheldon Whitehouse votes to get lead out of pipes. No one ever sticks around to find out if the lead is actually removed from the pipes. No, he just put up your money to some nonprofit. Nobody checks. Nobody goes back. Nobody finds out if the job was ever done. As long as his donors get paid, as long as the people who sit on the boards of those ridiculous entities get paid, nobody cares. So you know what? Shout out to my boy Lee Zeldin. Keep kicking ass. I wish I could be there with you. And shout out to Eric in the background. Don't think I forgot about you, bro. Don't think I forgot about you. Guys, we'll be back in 1 second. Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com. Use promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That is MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD. Guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out wherever it is you are watching from. I want to thank everybody always so much for tuning in. It's Friday. It's freezing here in New York. Why is it so cold? It's Memorial Day weekend. It's supposed to be nice. We got barbecues. We got all the good stuff. But apparently we're all going to be doing it in sweatshirts. Boy, I could really use some global warming right about now, but let's keep rocking, let's keep rolling, because Democrats know they have got nothing to offer the American people. Nothing! And some Democrats, this according to the Daily Caller, some Democrats have expressed serious concerns over the likelihood that their party may be able to win the House back in 2026. Mounting fears of potentially chaotic and overly crowded primaries, according to Politico. Several Democrats are growing concerned about competitive House primaries becoming too crowded amid a surge in Democratic candidates who want to run in 2026. Now look, I don't like Democrats, I don't like them on a plane, and I certainly don't like them on a train. But maybe, Democrats, maybe the reason why your primaries are becoming so crowded is because you haven't done diddly poo for your party. You haven't done anything for your constituents. And yes, I just quoted Jim Mora for all my football fans out there. Several Democrats have been privately encouraging Democratic House campaign leaders to step in and prevent money and resources from being funneled into primaries instead of focusing them on the general election. This is, this is so great. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it so much. Oh, first off, Democrats have a fundraising problem to begin with. That's number one. Number two, if Democrats are telling their campaign leaders to take money out of the general election fund and put them into the primaries, that means there's going to be less money in the generals against Republicans. This is, as some might say, as one person in particular might say, this is huge. This is huge for Republicans aspiring to run for the House of Representatives. There's going to be some crowded primaries. So many people stepping up against... Oh, I love this. Oh, my God. I love this so much. I'm going to start this over again. There are going to be so many crowded primaries So many people stepping up against Trump, and then and then so many different players throwing around real money in these primaries, said Ian Russell, a Democratic consultant. But it creates some tension between all the energy coming out of these primaries and the party trying to shape their matchups. No, guys. No. They're challenging you because they see weakness. Like, let's say you were a member of Congress who decided to fall asleep during the budget vote. You know, they might see some weakness, some pushback there. The Democratic Party has been facing growing intra-party tensions as leaders, after, quote, Leaders We Deserve, a political organization founded by David Hogg, announced in April that it was willing to shell out millions of dollars to primary Democratic incumbents in safe blue seats. Hogg claimed at the time that he was hoping to primary certain asleep-at-the-wheel Democrats. I love this. I love this so much. Democratic leaders have also been grappling with several polls showing tanking approval ratings among voters. In recent months, a Harvard Youth poll released in April found that congressional Democrats' approval rating among young voters declined by 19% in the last 8 years. Imagine you lose a fifth of your voters in less than a decade. You suck. Yeah. Because it turns out, since President Trump was elected, Democrats have done nothing. Nothing. They force-fed a dead man on us, and then force-fed a woman that nobody likes. Nobody likes. I can't imagine why people hate you guys. It's almost hard for me to fathom why people hate you all. It's hard for me to fathom why young people are disillusioned by the Democratic Party and moving towards the Republican Party. Why? Because we're the fun ones. We're the fun people. Why would anyone want to, if you're young, why would anyone want to be a Democrat? Why would anyone want to do that? There doesn't sound like, imagine trying to attract young men by telling them that every one of their basic desires, every one of their primal instincts makes them toxic. Imagine trying to attract young women by putting mentally ill men in their locker rooms and taking away their rightly earned medals and trophies and places on podiums. I can't imagine why people hate you all so much. It's almost hard for me to believe. Particularly when people like President Trump picking up win after win after win. We're going to get to some of those wins in just a second. Before we do that, guys, hit that thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling. Hey, where's my live chat? Do I have my live chat ready to go? No, I don't. Where is my live chat? Where are we? Boom, there we go. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We're rocking, we're rolling here. 9 minutes to the hour. Make sure you guys keep it locked in here. Rumble.com/LFATV. All day for the breaking news. President Trump will be signing executive orders any minute now. He was supposed to do it at 1 o'clock. But, the president, he kind of runs on his own clock. So I'm sure he'll get to it sometime when he feels like it. I'm sure he'll get to it at some point. What's happening, everybody? TD Hodges, Nancy, how are you? Also, for the local audience, everybody watching on Long Island this Sunday, I will be at the Ronkonkoma Street Fair, one of the biggest fairs on Long Island. Make sure you guys come on down, say hello, get involved. It's going to be a good time. Joey Pag said it sounds like I was... No, that's not what it sounds like when I'm doing that, Joe. That's not what it sounds like. Guys, once again, hit the thumbs up button. I'll be at the Ronkonkoma Street Fair. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFA TV related. Check out the LFA TV store. And while you guys are there, consider becoming a monthly donor over at lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. We do appreciate your Rumble Rants as always. We can't do it without your help. We can't do it without your help. So, as we rock, as we roll here, 7 minutes left in the show today. Democrats are in absolute chaos while Trump continues to kick ass and take names. As John Deere pledges a $20 billion investment in the United States over the next decade. Now, John Deere is one of those companies like Ford. Ford helped build America. America helped build Ford. John Deere is one of those. And seeing so many of those kinds of companies abandon the American worker, abandon the American factory for offshoring jobs is incredibly disheartening. But with a little bit of pressure from President Trump, some of these companies are beginning to come back. John Deere will invest $20 million into its U.S. operations over the next 10 years, according to their CEO, John May. During the company's second quarter earnings call, the announcement signals the company's long-term focus on supporting domestic manufacturing, job creation, and local community. The investment package expands on previous financial commitments the company has made within the United States, where it has operated since its founding in 1837. What does that mean? Well, he says it himself. John Deere has helped build America since 1837 through U.S. manufacturing, jobs, and community growth, the company stated. The announcement reinforces the company's ongoing commitment to strategic investments for today and for the future. The $20 billion initiative includes large-scale projects in key locations. Among them is the construction of a new excavator plant in North Carolina, an expansion of turf equipment facilities in Tennessee, and a 112,000 square foot expansion is also planned for its remanufacturing center in Missouri. In Waterloo, Iowa, John Deere is adding a new assembly line for its 9RX high horsepower tractor. If you're in the market for one of those, I would say, guys, support the people who are making the investment and the commitment to support America. I don't get anything from John Deere. However, as I've said numerous times on this show and on many other shows, it's going to come down to us investing in the companies that are choosing to invest in America. They need our support. If GM is going to bring all of its car plants back to America, then we should be buying those vehicles. If you have and look, maybe they might be a little bit more expensive. I don't know. We'll see. But if you can do it, support the companies that are supporting the America First agenda. That's how you incentivize more companies to do exactly that. Because when other companies see that there is a motive, that there is a motivation to do it, a profit incentive to do it, more companies will begin their investment. And once we get that, the sky is literally the limit. The sky is the limit once we do that. Once again, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Remember, Will Johnson is coming up next on this show. On the backs of the John Deere announcement, Trump is saying, and this could be a good time to buy, this could be a good time to bend over and over and over again. But Trump says that there will be a 25% tariff that Apple must be paid by Apple on iPhones made outside of the United States. This is the latest jab at Apple from President Trump over the past couple of weeks, who has ramped up pressure on the company and Tim Cook to increase domestic manufacturing. Yes, Now, a lot of people are going to say, Kevin, but those aren't going to be like regular manufacturing jobs. It's going to be all robots putting these things together. You're right. It will be. Jobs of the future. For your young people, running those factories, manufacturing the AI that builds the phones. But more importantly, helps us export products made in this country, which is something that we have not had in quite some time. We used to export everything. Now we import everything, and then we wonder why we do not get the desired result. We wonder why we rely on awful places around the world, like China. Because we have decided that domestic manufacturing is either not important enough, not worth it, but if we can begin exporting the stuff we make here, even if it is made by robots, what does that do? That hurts places like China. China is the enemy here. I don't care about Iran. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about any of these. I don't care about Gaza. I don't really care about Israel. The goal here is to hurt China, which benefits America. That's the key. And it's time for us to remember that. Guys, we got like a minute left in the show. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. I hope everybody has a lovely Memorial Day. We're going to have shows all throughout the weekend. A few shows on Monday. I will be away. I have my yearly Memorial Day family reunion that we always do. But I think Jeremy will be on, and I think Pete will be on their regularly scheduled hours. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. Before we check out, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this program and all the activism we've got going on. Pick up your Orange Man Good shirts, ladies, just for you guys, just for the ladies. We've only got it for women. We ran out of it for men. It was so hot that the men flew off the shelves. So we've only got the women's ones left. Guys, use promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. Everybody, I want to thank you all so much we'll try to get to the Ronkonkoma Street Fair. All right, C. Michaels, I got it for you. The next station is Ronkonkoma. This is the train to Babylon. Guys, I'll see you guys back on Tuesday. Until then, everybody, stay loud.